everyone. Thanks for joining us. We should get started here in about 1 or 2 minutes. We're going to allow a few more people to log in. We're just waiting another 30 seconds or so to let some more people get logged in. Thanks for joining us. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2024 Sigmafine Summit. My name is Ryan Boland. I'm the marketing manager at PIMSoft. I've got a few housekeeping items to go through before we get started. I want to go over the agenda, questions and answers, and presentations. Our virtual program for today, we have our opening message with welcome and housekeeping, and then Massimo Galli will give a speech on the Sigmafine ecosystem expansion and have a comment about the Valsoft. We have a customer from Hunt Refining, Aaron Connell, to give a speech. And then we have a Sigmafine partner carousel, which will kind of go over our partner program. And then there's 2 interviews, one with Contact Ingenieros and Showroom International. And then we have our product development roadmap, which I'm sure will be followed by some Q&A. And then Michelle Daigle who has a session over the new Sigmafine Studio and the Sigmafine Visualizer. Questions and answers. If you have questions at any time during the presentations, please submit using the chat function on the right-hand side. We will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation with the speaker, in which we will try and answer all the questions that were submitted. If we're unable to get to your question during the program, we will follow up with a response after the event. Please be aware that we're on a little bit of a delay from when we broadcast to when you see what comes out. So if you have a question, feel free to go ahead and get it in a little bit beforehand, and that way we can get to it as quick as we can. Following the event, we will have recordings of the presentations posted up to rewatch at your convenience on the Sigmafine Resources Center on the website. We will also make PDF copies available of the presentations for your reference. We also have another presentation that we weren't able to add into this part of the program, but we'll have available later on from Chevron. I hope everybody enjoys the show. Thank you. First presentation that we have comes from Massimo Galli. I will go ahead and start it up.
Good morning and welcome to the Sigmafine Summit 2024. I am Massimo Galli. Most part of you already know me. I've been one of the co-founders of PIMSoft, and today I'm in charge of global sales. This summit is a relevant event in Sigmafine history for many different reasons. My job today is to introduce you to the most important themes. This is the first summit after the acquisition of Pinsoft by Valsoft on late 2022. And as we have many attendees completely new to Sigmafine, we'll briefly recall what Sigmafine is and what Sigmafine does. Then we'll go through two important news about Sigmafine technology, Sigmafine Hub, recent releases, and Fusion, a technology pertaining to the new ecosystem Pinsoft belongs to. Finally, I would like to give some highlight about the emerging trends in Sigmafine application we have been detecting from the market. Some news about the summit. With the word summit, we intend to highlight the sense of Sigmafine community. The logo of the summit wants to represent such community which involves users, customers, partners, and alliances. We are very glad to have many different industries and territories represented. It is always exciting to have such a diverse audience, and also this reflects the versatility of Sigmafine, which is applied to so many different industrial contexts. The summit will be delivered through two sessions, one serving the Americas, and then the other one dedicated to EMEA and APAC. Today, we have representatives from all territories and so many diverse industries, the most relevant ones here represented. We would like to thank the customer and partners who made their contribution to the summit by bringing their stories and ideas. You listened about actual Sigmafine implementation by Hunt Refining. Unfortunately, due to a last-minute inconvenience, Chevron won't be able to present and will be sharing their story with the rest of the presentation through our channels. Also, we'll have a partner carousel featuring two long-term Sigmafine partners, Shure International and Contact Ingenieros. This summit marks a new era for Sigmafine. Sigmafine has been delivering data reconciliation for a long time, more than 30 years. It was initially introduced in the early 90s and used within refinery profit improvement program. At that time, it was a 16-bit application. You can see the old Sigmafine logo there. Then in 1999, it was acquired by Osisoft, who used it as the DNA for the future Osisoft Asset Framework. In 2010, it was acquired by Pinsoft, who continued expanding the capabilities and usage across multiple industries. In 2020, Pinsoft introduced Sigmafine Hub, which was a completely paradigm shift in the user experience and the main theme for the summit today. Finally, on late 2022, Valsoft acquired Pinsoft with the objective of further unlocking the potential of Sigmafine technology. Valsoft is a large organization based in Montreal, Canada, and established in 2015. The main focus is to acquire and grow vertical software businesses, which are defined by the profile of excellence in their respective segments. Software businesses are structured in consistent portfolio and allowed to keep and develop their own customer-oriented culture while still being part of a larger organization. Valsoft scored exponential growth and in less than 10 years became a global organization having employees and companies everywhere around the world. We believe it is important to send the message that Valsoft's strategy is not to resell the acquired business, but to hold them and make them grow organically. The objective is to make them stronger and even more successful. Valsoft does not micromanage such businesses, but create the condition and provide background services to support passionate people in unlocking the potential of the acquired business. These trends give an idea about the pace of the acquisition made by Valsoft. Up there on late 2022, you can find Pinsoft. And it is impressive how many other businesses have entered the Valsoft family in just 1 year. One of them, Fusion, is part of the same vertical Pinsoft belongs to. Pinsoft is part of the operational technology vertical. This includes other companies, Vision KMS and S&W in the EHSQ domain. Then we have JBL in the industrial ERP segment, and specifically Pinsoft together with Fusion is part of the process and manufacturing segment. Each business area maintains the focus on its own specialties and expertise, but at the same time, the model guarantees each company is well supported by shared services across the organization and can leverage as needed the resources made available by the other companies. I know most of you already know very well what Sigmafine is, but let me just recap the main concept behind Sigmafine for the new audience. The Sigmafine mission is to enable the establishment of a practice which is to be sustainable over time to transform process and manufacturing data into digital assets capable to generate an economic positive value for our customers. Sigmafine can process a variety of data, including process data from sensors, lab analysis, and even business transactions, put them in context, validate them, reconcile them according to physical constraint, to obtain a new validated dataset, which can then be conditioned to be consumed according to different business mandates, such as production accounting, material tracking, energy balance, and more. The new reconciled dataset created using such technique minimizes the overall data uncertainty and at the same time satisfies the selected physical constraints. Let's go through the building blocks of such industrial digital asset factory. At the basis, Sigmafine allows to define a model which represents the set of process and business assets and how they are interconnected to each other. Each asset is animated by data. However, such data are by nature affected by errors. So it is important to define the degree of belief we have on such piece of data. In Sigmafine glossary, this is called tolerance. Then we have to define the time basis for our analysis. These may vary depending on the type of application. It can be daily and monthly for production accounting. It can be nearly real-time or hourly if we apply Sigmafine to support operations management. Next step is to define which type of analysis we need to apply to the model, given the time rule and the assigned tolerances. Sigmafine makes available statistical data reconciliation according to different constraints: mass balance, energy balance, mass and energy combined, component balance. In addition, Sigmafine includes tracking capabilities, so it is possible to couple, for example, a mass balance together with material tracking to support applications like crude composition tracking. Sigmafine tracking is very flexible and can be applied to both physical and business properties, ownership to mention one. Finally, every factory needs metrics to measure how good the data reconciliation and transformation process was. We'll see a few examples of them. To make it clearer, let me show some example of model. The model defines the context of our analysis, and it is driven by the specific customer requirement. Sigmafine is very scalable, so you may have pretty simple models like the one describing a specific process unit with inlet-outlet flows. Other models can represent a specific process flow from raw material to finished products, including tanks, receipt, and shipments. And then we can have a complex model representing a full facility or even an integrated industrial complex, including not only the process plant, but also the industrial utility networks, such as fuel gas, steam, water, H2, electricity. The Sigmafine mission is to improve data quality using first principle-based methods. A key concept to underline is that no piece of data is generated without having a correlated metric defining how good the outcome is. Sigmafine generates a set of metrics, some of them at model level, others specific for each point of measurement and balance, which provides the level of confidence of the generated dataset. Those metrics are used to both identify data errors during the reconciliation process and to be attached as a sort of certificate to the generated dataset. Now, I would like to introduce a couple of important news for the Sigmafine community. The new Sigmafine Hub release contains the authoring feature. This release allows you to build, edit, and modify Sigmafine model displays within Sigmafine Hub using a simple browser. No more need of process book. Authoring introduces many new concepts. Whiteboarding allows you to sketch new models in a more abstract and intuitive way. Now, support for partial displays and sub-displays have been added, so complex models can be split and consumed by different groups of competencies. Also very important, there is a full implementation of synchronized versioning between the model configuration and the model graphics, which was not possible before. Second announcement is about Sigmafine Studio. Sigmafine Studio is a new Sigmafine Hub web app providing a development environment which can allow both users and partners to create their own Sigmafine Hub intelligent components. This enables the development and the deployment of new Sigmafine Hub analytics, reports, dashboards, workflows. It also provides the means to increase data reconciliation automation and offer the possibility to analyze and report Sigmafine data spanning multiple cases. Today, we're going to have two dedicated presentations related to those two important releases. To introduce next topic, I would like to share some of the requests we recently received from the market. The first is becoming quite common. It is about transitioning Sigmafine existing installation to the cloud, or for a new customer, deploy Sigmafine to the cloud. Then we have another one. My company acquired a new facility in some far territory, and we need to provide them Sigmafine mass balance as a centralized service. Or even recently, we have been contacted by a candidate partner providing engineering services to oil and gas companies who would like to explore the possibility of including Sigmafine data reconciliation as part of the cloud services they are offering to their customers base. All these requests above are demanding for a more flexible, scalable way to leverage Sigmafine resources. And this leads me to introduce Fusion Data Hub. We saw that Fusion is part with Pinsoft of the same process and manufacturing vertical. Fusion Data Hub is a cloud-native industrial data hub. It can consume a wide variety of different data sources and can collect, store, and analyze different types of data in the cloud and make them available to a variety of advanced analytics, dashboarding, cloud-based technologies. Beyond the classic existing deployment models, we foresee that integration between Sigmafine and Fusion will add another scenario, enabling Sigmafine to be deployed to the cloud. This would introduce additional benefits, such adding new data sources to be consumed by Sigmafine, enabling centralized model data management, allowing Sigmafine results to be consumed by cloud-based analytics and dashboarding platforms. These topics will be discussed in more detail during the Sigmafine development roadmap, which includes an introduction to Fusion Data Hub technology. Finally, I would like to share with you some new applications Sigmafine has been requested to support. The first case is related to Sigmafine feeding machine learning models. Those require robust data, and Sigmafine can provide high-quality data validated by first principle analysis. Second, compliance protocol require good data and most important, such data is to be provided together with the correlated uncertainties. Third, more and more Sigmafine is used to reconcile and track network of utilities, being steam, water, gas, electricity. This is typically done to allocate consumption to the different cost centers of the company, or even in some cases to provide an objective dataset to support intercompany contracts between companies sharing the same utility networks in the same facility. We're going to see a couple of examples related to the first two topics. This is the case of a batch process where the customer is interested in optimizing operation by estimating the right time to cut or discharge the batch information with the intent of minimizing the cost and maximizing the quality. The machine learning platform behind this implementation needs nearly real-time validated data to perform optimally, and the task is complicated by the difficulty in estimating the composition of the batch information. In this case, Sigmafine runs both a mass balance and composition tracking analysis, reading both process data and raw materials cost. A Sigmafine model to represent the process is being defined to estimate the composition of the batch in the reactor and the related cost. This information is used by the machine learning platform to take the appropriate decision. An interesting point from the Sigmafine perspective is that the model runs every 15 minutes in order to generate the validated data used by the decisional chain. This can sound unusual to production accounting users, but yes, Sigmafine can be automated even on a relatively short time frame. Let's go through the second example about compliance reporting in the specific GHG compliance reporting domain. As a platform supporting data quality improvement, Sigmafine can be configured to represent the facility or the network subject to reporting. Sigmafine can also embed some specific GHG formulas, CO2 equivalent calculation, and finally, most important, Sigmafine can detect bad measurements and provide a measure for uncertainties. We can see an example where Sigmafine can highlight bad actors among the measurements in different ways, by ranking, graphically in the network model representation, or through dedicated dashboards. This is another example of a CO2 report where it is relevant to note that each estimated emission point is correlated with the required uncertainty level as requested by the underlying protocol. I hope this example can enlighten new utilization scenario for your Sigmafine installation. In case you are interested, feel free to contact myself or your Sigmafine team representative to discuss more about it. With this, I close my intervention. I leave you with the agenda. We are going to have Han presenting, then our partners, and finally the sequence of product-oriented presentation. Thank you again for your attention and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you, Massimo. So next up, we have a presentation from Hunt Refining. Aaron Connell is a yield accounting analyst, and I'll go ahead and start that up now.
Good morning. I'm Aaron Connell with Hunt Refining Company. We are based here out of Tuscaloosa. Use the Sigmafine for our daily mass balance models. And we'll go through a little bit of how we use it, what we plan to do with it, and then kind of wrap everything up with a summary. So just a little more information about us. As I said, we're located here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. All right, so a little bit about what we already do and plan to do with the Sigmafine software. So we use this it was our solution for production and yield performance accounting. As I said, we run it on a daily basis for our unit mass balances. That information is pushed out to multiple groups through the engineering group, planning group, operational planning. We're using this primarily to track inventories and then unit productions, and we use this in our monthly yield accounting and reconciliations. So moving forward, one of the things we're headed towards is we would like to build independent mass balances for each process unit within the refinery. As of now, we have an overall refinery model. So all the information is already in the model. We're going to try to utilize the Sigmafine layers and break each unit out into its own respective mass balance. And then we also currently use this on our terminal locations, and we would like to break that out into the layers also. So as far as who uses this data, the planning department, that's the department that I am in. We use this to track our overall LV yield and look for other opportunities to optimize this LV yield. And at the end of every month, of course, it's used for our financial accounting. They use it for our reconciliation of volumes. So they're using the reports generated from the software. Process engineering, a lot of that information is passed on from our group. We tell them what we're seeing as far as yields, and then they'll come up with a plan of, hey, maybe we can do this to improve it, or this is what's going on. This is why you're seeing this. It's a useful tool in that regard. So at Hunt Refining, what do we have? We have the Sigmafine model, but for what we do, we have utilized the integration framework to bring in all different sorts of data. So ROMS is an Aviva product. It's called Offsites. That's our blender, our tank information gauging system, and our order movement management system. That's where we get a lot of our daily information. So we're pulling in all of our tank gauges and volumes, analyzer information, and capturing all the movements within the refinery. And through the integration framework, we're able to pull this into the Sigmafine model without any manual work. So we're also pulling in our lab data through our LIMS. That's also a part of that Aviva offsite suites, and that's being pulled through the integration framework into the Sigmafine model. We pull data from the Aspen Historian IP21. That is now coming across the integration framework, and we use that just for different flows in and out of the units, charge rates, and things of that nature. So the Diamond or G3 system is for truck ticketing, as far as our metered flows for like gasoline, diesel sales, and that's all pulled across the integration framework. And then finally, we pull in our Allegro data, which is our invoicing system, and we're able to pull that across our integration framework and dump that into the model automatically. So this is just kind of a high-level overview of our model. It looks very busy, but everything in here is template driven on an element level, so that when I put in a new flow or a new tank, everything is already standardized to give me the attributes that I need. So it makes it easy to make any changes to the model, makes it easier to troubleshoot if anything's wrong. So one of the big things here, the quality indicator, the DX1, we use that. So there are some manual inputs that we put into the model daily. That's done in an Excel format. We're able to put these things in this Excel sheet, and through the Sigmafine data importer, upload it into the model. By doing that, sometimes there may be a movement or two that gets missed. So by looking at this DX1, our threshold is 20%. We try to keep the DX1 below 20%. So if we see it over 20, we know to go start looking for an issue. And that's been a big tool for us to make sure that we capture everything on a daily basis. So we do use it for our inventory balance to see how everything's doing, make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. For end of month accounting, we're just looking at where our volumes are at end of month versus the beginning of month. It is a mass balance, so we use that for our material balances to make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. The individual process unit balances is something, as I said before, that we're headed towards in the future that we want to utilize. And then there are some flows that we don't capture that through the Sigmafine software, we're able to do a calculation and back into those non-measured numbers. It's been a very useful tool for the detection of measurement errors. So we can look at what we put into the model, what we said it should be, and then when the model does its reconciliation, we can look at the reconciled mass and see how much of a correction it had to make. And we can use this sometimes to troubleshoot where we have an issue. So we also use this to tell us where there are optimization opportunities. So we're able to analyze the yield. We know where the yield runs, on a monthly basis, and we're able to look at it and say, hey, maybe there's some opportunity to improve this, or maybe this yield has fell off and we need to go look at why. So Sigmafine is simplified the process of that. We can put everything into this model and run it accurately. It takes probably 5 minutes for this model to run. It's very quick. And it provides a very helpful tool in analyzing the refinery yields and material balances. You can quickly see where anything got off. And we do use this on a daily basis. So what we're able to do is import this model data straight into Microsoft SQL. And through there, we can dump it out into various Excel reports and things and easily generate daily reports. So what do we plan to do in the future? We plan to utilize the model layers to expand the individual process unit mass balances and better analyze those yields. And we're gonna try to use this data, get it into other reports that are maybe pulling from different locations, get everything to be pulling the same data. And there is some discussion with Carlos and the group to eventually move toward the Sigmafine hub and see what that can do for us. So just to wrap up here, why are we using Sigmafine? We're using Sigmafine because it has streamlined everything. The data is all in one place. We're able to automate a lot of this through the integration framework and pull it all in relatively easy. Now, as I said, there are still a few manual imports that we do daily in an Excel format, but we can upload that through the Sigmafine data importer. It's been a very valuable tool for providing timely and accurate data. And utilizing the DX1 values, we're able to identify misreported or missing things and just see where we need to go back and take a second look. This time we'll take any questions. Thank you.
Okay, we want to thank Aaron for his presentation. Unfortunately, due to the time zone difference, he wasn't able to join us for the Q&A session. But if you do have any questions regarding this topic, please go ahead and submit your questions anyways, and we'll get him to answer them, who will be available later today during the Americas session. Next up, we go back to Massimo Galli for the Partner Carousel presentation.
Section is about Sigmafine partners. At the beginning of the summit, we introduced the concept of Sigmafine community, and for sure, Sigmafine partners are very important contributors to such a community. Today, we would like to go through the Sigmafine partner program and introduce two long-term partners of Sigmafine, Sure International and Contact Ingenieros. They will be presenting themselves, their expertise, their story with Sigmafine, and relevant customer success story. So first, let's go through the Sigmafine partner program. We've seen that Sigmafine can serve a variety of different industries, and it is deployed on a global scale. This business space gives the opportunity for third parties to provide a tailored expertise and services depending on customer requirements. Also, it provides the means for such third parties to be part of their revenue stream on Sigmafine. The Sigmafine partner program foresees different partner roles: Sigmafine professional acting as Sigmafine consultants, integration partners interconnecting their technology with Sigmafine, and then we have implementation partners who are able to support the customer in installing and configuring the system, or even take the lead of complex Sigmafine implementation and then provide post-project assistance. Finally, we have business partners who can resell Sigmafine licensing or co-sell them with Pinsoft. In many cases, partners cover both the implementation and business roles. The key point for a company using Sigmafine is that the availability of such network augments the way Sigmafine expertise can be delivered. The partners can provide additional expertise on specific industries, as well as deliver support and implementation deployment to specific territories. We have partners in all continents, and some of them are very skilled on specific industry domains. Today, we're going to interview a couple of them: Sure International from the United Arab Emirates and Contact Ingenieros from Chile.
Good morning and welcome to this interview with Sigmafine partners. Our guest is Mr. Ahmad Diab, Senior Systems Engineer at Sure International. Hi Ahmad, thanks for having accepted the invite to speak with us today.
Good morning, Marco. It's my pleasure actually to be here with you and with the audience.
Ahmad, can you tell us about your company, location, and services that you provide?
Yes, Sure International is a company based in Abu Dhabi, UAE, and we are specialized in control systems integration and advanced automation of major industries with a special focus on oil and gas and power sectors. In addition to the mass and energy balancing solutions, data reconciliation, and production accounting provided by Pimsoft Sigmafine, our professional engineers have business and technical experience in data historian and process automation solutions, digital transformation, asset management, geographic information systems, learning management system, water and wastewater management solutions, and also licenses and field support and implementation services for the Aviva Pi system software. Here in Abu Dhabi, we are registered suppliers in a lot of companies, including ADNOC, Adwiya, ADCC, DIWA, ENOC, and also we are ICV and ISO certified as well.
Good, great. And when did the relation with Sigmafine begin? Which value did it bring to Sure as a partner?
Well, we got introduced to Sigmafine around 10 years ago, and capitalizing on the historical expertise in Pi system implementation, Sigmafine was an added value to the portfolio of products we propose and deliver to our work to our clients, especially to the field of asset management. Moreover, this relationship with Sigmafine allowed us to introduce our automation solutions to clients that are interested in mass and energy balance, data reconciliation, and production accounting services as well, which allowed us to diverse the fields of the clients that we work with.
Okay, and what is the value that a partner can bring from your perspective to Sigmafine customers in the territory you operate?
Shuro, as a Sigmafine partner, can deliver not only the expertise, but the knowledge of customer needs, thus tailoring even more the solution. Being close to end user, a partner can act as first tier support and provide a promote response to customer queries. Shuro also works closely with PIMSoft to develop the network and facilitate the Sigmafine adoption by companies in the UAE and other GCC countries.
And can you provide an example of a successful Sigmafine project that you have completed, especially in your territory, of course?
Yes. Well, one of the examples of a successful Sigmafine project we have completed is the implementation of Sigmafine to deliver an integrated mass and energy balance reconciliation and production accounting systems for a large olefin producer in the Middle East. The project faced several complexities for the size of the system, numbers of the KPIs to be calculated, and custom-tailored reports. We have supported both PIMSoft and the end user in all project phases, from the project kickoff, data gathering, and on-site surveys, along with development of specific areas of the project, testing to roll out. It has been a great achievement, and it improved a lot of the knowledge of the team and capabilities in Sigmafine for future projects.
Yeah, I remember that project because I was also part of the team at the time.
Yeah.
What was a great achievement. I remember with great pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, one last question for you, Ahmad. As we spoke, or you are hearing a lot in the last period from PIMSoft about the new Sigmafine platform. In perspective, also the capabilities of Studio for the analytics. How do you think this can help a partner like you to deliver more value to our Sigmafine customers?
Well, now with Process Book becoming obsolete, Sigmafine Hub can become the main visualization tool that the client can use as a for visualization purposes. It's a web-based solution, so client doesn't need to install it on every single client machine. So this is like an added value. It's easy to use and delivers a performance superior to the client server performance of the Sigmafine server. Also, it's secured and easy to update. With these advantages, as a partner, it gives us the opportunity to reach more clients that are interested in web-based solutions. And we are very keen in knowing more about the Studio technology that should allow to develop tailored analytics and reports to our customers.
Okay, thanks, Ahmad. I hope this new technology will help deliver more and more value in the upcoming years to our customer base. I appreciate it a lot, and I hope the same for all the audience about your words. Thanks a lot to Showroom for this continuous relationship that we have since 10 years now, so long time, and let's hope to grow even more in the future. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Marco. It's my pleasure to join you, and we hope for more collaborations in the future as well.
Welcome, everybody. Today, we would like to introduce you to Contact Ingenieros, who is a long-term Sigmafine partner. With me, there is Felipe Kripper, the metallurgical balance leader of Contact, and he will drive us through the agenda. So introducing Contact, the story about Contact and Sigmafine, and the successful customer story with Codelco. So, welcome you, Felipe. It's a pleasure to have you here. And as a first question, I would like to ask you to introduce your company.
Okay, thank you, Maximo. Contact is dedicated to development of technology, methodology, and specialized service for operation and asset management. We want to become a strategic partner during the entire life cycle of the system, from the initial conception to the implementation, support, and evolutionary development. Our vision is to be considered by our customer the preferred partner in the adoption of automation, data analytics, and industrial IT technology. We are a Chilean company with more than 14 years in the market. We have been partner of PIMSO for more than 13 years. We have a 25-year relationship with Aveva and Osisoft, and we are mainly dedicated to the integration and construction of industrial IT systems. This are some of our clients in metallurgical balance. You can see the major mining company with operation in Chile, and with most of them, we have operational continuity support service.
Thank you, Felipe. And can you tell us more about how your story started with Sigmafine and what you did across all these years?
Okay, of course. Contact and Sigmafine have a long history together. We started development of this kind of solution more than 20 years ago with Codelco. Now we have a metallurgical accounting system that allows us to ensure compliance with the EMEA standard, ensure the traceability and adaptability of the metallurgical balance. In short, a robust and integrated solution based on Sigmafine. This is the solution architect. As you can see, the core is Sigmafine, which allows us to generate the balance model and the data reconciliation. On the other hand, PyAF allows us to contextualize the model with metadata and the enable of the necessary calculation. On top, we have two solutions developed by Contact. SIP allows us to manage the inbound and outbound reportability of the balance, and the other hand, the Escritorio de Balance or Balance Desktop that allows us to centralize the activity of the balance operator. The Balance Desktop is a single interface for the user, improve the user experience, and combine the best practice obtained from the experience of years of implementation this type of solution. In this way, the operator uses a single interface that centralizes the flow and tasks associated with the execution of the metallurgical balance. In addition, it allows us to display of indicator and alarm regarding the data quality. This simplifies the task of reviewing the input data and results.
Okay, very interesting, Felipe. I'm finding that in your case, you have been able not only to implement Sigmafine and configure it, but also to add another layer of expertise by integrating Sigmafine with your own application for the metallurgical balance. I think this is something interesting and a model for other partners. And so let's go through a customer experience. So I understand this is about Codelco.
As I mentioned at the beginning, our objective is to generate long-term relationship with our clients. Here I present our experience with Codelco, which started with the use of Sigmafine back in 2003, and is currently a standard in a metallurgical accounting platform. During these years, we have worked in the standardization of architectures, application, and methodology for the execution of the metallurgical balance of the A division of Codelco. In the A division of Codelco, use the same solution, which allows them to share experience and best practice, generating a dynamic of continuous improvement. Their efforts are aligned with the greatest possibility automation in their balance process so that their time is dedicated to the analysis of the result and the identification of possible problems in the base instrumentation. Other benefits include the continuous reduction of application support time, rapid implementation of application, and faster application deployment. This implies for the client a decrease in system maintenance costs, as well as allowing to the development of corporate monitoring application and centralizes balance report.
Okay, very interesting. So if I understand well, the dashboard we can see on the right is a dashboard representing the monitoring of the metallurgical balance process, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now this is very interesting because in this kind of implementation, the system is so complex that it is needed to have a monitoring dashboard. Okay. Thank you, Felipe, for your contribution. As a final question, I would like to ask you about Sigmafine Hub. So you know Sigmafine Hub has been the new thing in the last few years. And as Pinso, we are interested to understand your opinion and your thoughts about Sigmafine Hub as a partner.
Okay. Yes, for us, Sigmafine Hub is the evolution of the Sigmafine to the web. And all our customers are migrating to the web solution. So we understand that in the medium term, we will be migrating application to this kind of solution. Yeah. This will allow us to improve response time for the execution of the balance and the review of the data.
Okay. Thank you, Felipe, and thank you again to you and Contact Ingenieros for contributing to the summit.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, Maximo.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again, Shuro and Contact, for your contribution to the summit. As Pinso, we would like to remark that we believe Sigmafine Hub, and particularly Sigmafine Studio, can improve the way our partners can plug their specific industry knowledge into Sigmafine for the benefit of the Sigmafine users. And now some important links. Companies who are interested in Sigmafine and who are looking for a partner available in their territory or industry can go to the Sigmafine partner directory under the Sigmafine website. Instead, companies who would like to become a Sigmafine partner can place their candidature at the link below. Our team will be contacting you for an initial business discussion. Thank you again for your attention.
Okay. Thank you. Next up, we have the product development roadmap.
Hi there, I'm David Fester, the technical product owner on the product line for process and manufacturing, focusing on PIMSoft and Fusion Data Hub products. Today I'm going to be talking about the state of the product on Sigmafine Server, Sigmafine Hub, Sigmafine Studio, Sigmafine Visualizer, as well as the direction of the product, which Andrei Safanov, Technical Product Manager, will give a look into the product development roadmap. Dave Shook, Vice President of Technology, will also give a look into the Fusion Data Hub product. Sigmafine 4.7 R2 is still the latest released version of Sigmafine Server and Client. Sigmafine Server's next version will be compatible with the new release of Pi Server 2023. However, both Sigmafine 4.7 and 4.7 R2 are fully supported to guarantee technological alignment, as well as the inclusion of enhancements tailored to improve the data quality. In 2023, we released new versions of SQL Access Server 4.7 SP3 and 4.7 R2 SP1. There were some enhancements like improvements on Pi tag configuration, improvement on SQL Access database creation, SQL Access Client publish view log page in SQL Access Client, and Sigmafine Server registration. We also addressed bug fixes in these releases. Integration framework 4.7 SP2 patch 4 and 4.7 R2 patch 4 had some minor fixes related to log files switching not working. In case of exceptions during log file switch, it will create a new log file in IF server trace directory called if_fatal.txt. IMM 4.6 and 4.7 SP3 and IMM 4.7 R2 SP1 were released. They introduced enhancements focused on improving the transfer data entry as well as preventing the creation of duplicate movements. In 2024, we will be focusing on Sigmafine 4.7 R3 compatibility with PyServer 2023, as well as Sigmafine Thermodynamics Data Reference Update in Q1 of 2024. Sigmafine Server Core Components, Analysis and Data Reference plugins are the cornerstone of Sigmafine Hub. All the features addressing the evolution of Sigmafine towards transforming data into digital assets and digital insights are covered by Sigmafine Hub. Sigmafine 4.7 R3 will be compatible with PyAF 2023. Sigmafine Server 4.6 R5 officially entered in maintenance in 2024 until 2025. Sigmafine 4.7 and 4.7 R2 are still supported. A new Sigmafine version will be released to support PyServer 2023. The current Sigmafine client applications will be entering in maintenance in 2024 for those customers still using them. They will be no longer supported in 2025 due to the PyProcessBook retirement. Sigmafine Modeler for PyProcessBook. This is currently replaced by Sigmafine Hub authoring tool made available in Sigmafine Hub 3.0. Sigmafine ADA for PyProcessBook. This is currently available in Sigmafine Hub Visualizer, ADA Object Info, Case Replication, as well as the ADA tables. Sigmafine Data Loader. This feature is now available in Sigmafine Hub 3.0.2, allowing you to import data in Sigmafine from Excel spreadsheets. We have implemented a significant update with Sigmafine Hub 2, focusing on improvements in the management of symbols presented in multiple layers, improving the selection ability. The optimizations made in highlighting, identifying, and emphasizing connections and transfers are important. Thanks to continued collaboration with our customers and our development team, we have resolved several bugs in this release, establishing a solid foundation for the subsequent release of Sigmafine Hub 3.0. In version 3.0, we have completed the development of the Sigmafine Visualizer authoring components, providing the ability to create and edit existing displays directly within Visualizer without depending on ProcessBook. We have extended and enhanced the applications within the Sigmafine Hub suite by introducing settings and claims to manage the new authoring features. Along with these changes, we have made the symbol library in ProcessBook available. This ensures that the symbols used in the displays you create or modify are in line with those used by our customers. For existing displays in ProcessBook, we have developed a conversion add-in to make them compatible with new Sigmafine Visualizer authoring. In version 3.0.1, we introduced several new features and improvements. Minimap. This new feature provides users with a condensed view of the entire display, allowing quick navigation between sections and enhancing the overall browsing experience. New whiteboard library. This expanded library includes a wide range of graphics symbols. Performance and usability improvements. Continuous efforts have been made to enhance overall performance and user experience. New data importer. This feature allows the loading of Excel sheets into the AF database, supporting load transfer, load items, tank load calibration table, load component table in element attributes, and composition monitoring table in element attributes. The data importer is also available for bulk action in ADA table. These advancements collectively contribute to a more efficient and intuitive user experience, marking significant milestones in the continuous evolution of Sigmafine Hub. Sigmafine Hub version 3.0.2, released December 2023. Setup Kit. Added possibility to change the SQL database name to use during the installation process. Display Converter add-in for ProcessBook. Added display background color to prefab symbols filled with transparent color. Report default settings. Added the possibility to create a global report setting where you can predefine some default behaviors. Update report mode, screen mode, open report setting, along with other bug fixes. The new authoring capability of Sigmafine Visualizer 3.0 offers a complete browser-based modeling solution to build, edit, and interact with your model all in one place. The model is visually represented through the display, while changes in the display are automatically reflected in the model. The updated interface is designed with user-friendliness in mind, offering an intuitive and streamlined user experience. Users can now access the power of Sigmafine and work with their models more effortlessly. New features in Sigmafine Visualizer 3.0. Model versioning, allowing the same display to exist in sync with each model version. Assign multiple views from a single model, allowing users to focus on a particular section of the model, or create views based on a particular context. Improved user experience through enhanced user interface. Auto expand. By double-clicking on the graphic symbol, the system will automatically develop all configured model connections by adding elements and connections, including all attachments. Auto draw. Dropping the element in the display if connections are defined and the elements are in the display, the system will automatically develop the connection, including all attachments. Whiteboarding allows users to quickly sketch out ideas and diagram your plant or process without worrying about the back-end logic, allowing for faster prototyping. Sigmafine Studio is the first step to isolate Sigmafine Hub from the AF SDK platform. Sigmafine Studio is a sophisticated web application that transforms your experience and improves your interaction with Sigmafine without the need for patches or new releases. It is a friendly and easy-to-use web-based development environment. It is a code block paradigm, no programming skills, no additional dev environment needed. It's abstract from the AF SDK, integrated web code editor, and an integrated development and debugging environment. 3 types of components could be developed in a project: analytics, reports and dashboards, and workflows. Direction of the product. I would like to introduce Andrei Safanov. Andrei is the technical product manager and head of product development for Aspire Ops Tech Division, with a focus on the product lines for process and manufacturing and EHSQ. He will now give a short video on the product roadmap.
Hello, hi, I'm Andrei, head of product and development. Today I'm going to walk you through a couple of improvements and changes we made in order to serve you better, as well as walk you through our roadmap for the next year. In terms of the changes that we have made, we really want to make sure that we resolve issues quickly by increasing the number of releases. It's up to you whether or not you want to implement or integrate that particular release. We'll also introduce a new documentation portal that includes a detailed how-to guides, release notes, and changelog, so you can stay up to date about all the new features and functionalities we're building, all the issues that we're fixing, as well as all the new products that are coming out as well. It comes with a search that you can quickly and easily find the thing you're looking for. We want to make sure that the roadmap is not done in a silo by us, but driven primarily by your feature requests. As such, we created an ideas portal in which you can submit all the different ideas, features, requests that you might have that will influence our roadmap and we can implement together. As well as we're switching out a support portal technology that we use to quickly resolve any of your issues so you can track progress of them and then see the tickets get resolved in real time. Now, with that being said, all of those changes kind of lead us into our roadmap. Before we kind of move on to the next year, let's talk about what we have released. We're looking at the Sigmafine Visualizer, a product that we have released that allows you to view displays, run cases, and analyze results. It really eliminates the need for use of the Pi Process Book, which was a desktop software, and now you can use the visualizer to visualize, author, and model displays. Sigmafine Visualizer is built on a modern web architecture that allows us to process much bigger and larger models. And now, one of my favorite features is the new whiteboard features, where it allows you to create displays without necessarily have to be connected to Pi server. Kind of allows you to brainstorm and build something new. Another feature that got introduced with the Sigmafine Visualizer is the ability to build partial displays. It's especially helpful if you're working with really large displays and you want to delineate responsibilities across multiple teams. Now, it also introduces versioning of graphics and the model configuration. Now, Studio is a brand new product, introduces reporting, user-defined analytics, and workflow automation. Sigmafine Studio delivers a full set of development features that can augment capabilities of the Sigmafine Hub by adding new analytics, indicators, reports, new level of personalization, and transfer your own knowledge into the product. Previously, you had to implement that outside of the Sigmafine application, where now you can all do it within the Sigmafine Hub. Now, because we built our new products like Sigmafine Visualizer or Sigmafine Studio on a modern web architecture, it makes our transition to the cloud much, much easier. We also partnered up together with the Fusion Data Hub to really leverage their data querying capabilities. Those data querying capabilities not only allow you to retrieve the same data that you get today, but also help you to see how the data is trending over time. The Fusion Data Hub comes out of the box with the functionality of Trender, where you can view and compare related data from a time period for analysis. Another feature that we're adding inside of the Sigmafine Hub, which was really requested by a lot of you, is ability to preserve the work that you have created within the testing environments and bring it over to production, greatly saving the time. And then we're also planning to reintroduce IMM within the Sigmafine Hub. Now, the Fusion Data Hub integration allows us new horizons for support for new data analytics tools that you might already be using today. I'm talking about Power BI and others, as well as new sources and places to get the data from. For example, OPC UA connector. I hope you enjoyed this roadmap walkthrough, as well as some of the changes we've done on the customer success side in order to serve you better. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out.
I would like to introduce Dave Shook. Dave is the Vice President of Technology for the Process and Manufacturing Division, managing both the Sigmafine and Fusion product lines. Dave is a recognized expert in process control and extracting value from industrial information, including program design, solution architecture, and analytics.
Hi, I'm Dave Shook. Welcome to the introduction to Fusion Data Hub. I'm very excited to be talking about this today. A little bit of background. I actually have been aware of Sigmafine for a very long time, over 20 years, in fact. Over 20 years ago, I was part of a company and we were a Sigmafine integrator. It's really a significant honor to be involved with this product that I've known about and been really quite a fan of for quite a long time. And I hope you become as interested in Fusion Data Hub as I am in Sigmafine. So today I just want to give a overview of Fusion. I can talk about it for a very long time, but we only have a few minutes today, and there's lots of opportunities for you to find out more about Fusion and Sigmafine throughout the summit and afterwards. So first, let's talk about what Fusion is and what it does. So we call Fusion an industrial data analytics hub. So what does that mean? We collect data from operational data systems. So we collect data from systems like Pi or Inductive Automation's Ignition or Honeywell PhD. We also connect data from OPC servers, that kind of thing. So we collect data from automation systems. We can also collect the data from IoT devices. Now, we are not trying to compete with Pi or the other operational historians. We are not an operational historian. We are cloud native. We are complementary to these sort of on-premise, not just data historians, but also the data concentrators. So systems like Ignition, which is as much a SCADA system as anything else, or other operational data concentrators that are beginning to show up in the market that have a wide library of drivers and are really aimed at the operational space. We play well with them. We are not trying to replace that functionality. We can also collect data from enterprise systems. Those are usually sort of easier to connect to on the cloud side. Now we collect data from these systems, and the important thing here is that we collect all of the information. So when we're talking to a system such as Pi, which I'm going to use as an example just because everybody here is quite familiar with Pi. There is more than one type of data in Pi. First of all, there is the time series data. There's the data in the tags, but there's also event frames. There's also Pi AF, asset hierarchy, asset definition information, and there's tag configuration information and tag metadata as well. So we make it possible to collect all this data from Pi and from other systems, really any operational system, and we bring it up to the Microsoft Azure cloud. Now, what we do here is we really make the data consumable by others. So Fusion itself is a data hub. It is not an application in its own right. So you can think of it as, infrastructure or as the system that moves and curates the data that then makes it possible for all sorts of different consumers to use it. Now, our technology and business approach has been and remains that we are mostly focused on keeping that data in our customers' space. So rather than us holding the data and providing a fully hosted environment, we allow our customers to retain the data under their control at all times. And we also build on top of Microsoft standard tooling and open systems so that the data is always accessible to the consumers in the company. They don't need to use specialized tools. They don't need to use our APIs. They can use standard tooling. They can use standard security management stuff in order to get access to their data. They can even back it up on their own. Right? So this is what we do. The way that we describe what we do is we enable access. We make it possible for our customers, administrative users, to manage from the cloud what data they want to acquire to the cloud. So when we connect to an operational data store, we retrieve the tag list and the asset hierarchy or other data model information. And then our users can, from the cloud, decide which of those values and for what time span they want to bring up to the cloud. So we make it possible for people who are not at site to enable the access to the data. We then want to empower users by making the data available. We have a trender, which is really a data discovery tool. It's a pretty good trender, but the purpose of it, is as much to allow users to figure out what data exists that they will then want to pull into other systems as it is to do the trending. And then we accelerate decisions by making this data consumable by third parties or by letting people access the data to build analytics on it, using adding value delivering applications built in systems like Power BI or Databricks, or in the Sigmafine set of products, which is where things get really interesting and for me very exciting. So let's talk about how Fusion works with Sigmafine. Now, there's a lot in this diagram. We're going to take it slowly. I want you to consider two things in mind. One is we're going to read it from the bottom to the top, right? Basically from data source to greatest value add. The other thing that's important is we are not differentiating in here between what is Fusion and what is Sigmafine. And that's on purpose. We are one company. This is going to become one product suite that you will be able to use in this integrated manner. So first of all, at the bottom, we have operational data sources. Now, as I alluded to, we do the upload management. We acquire data models, tag lists and metadata, streaming data, history data, event data. Couple of important things. We do automatic gap filling. So to use Pi again as an example, if there is an outage of our connection to the Pi server for whatever reason, we detect that gap, and as soon as we reconnect, we start data streaming, but we also reach back into Pi's archive so that we can fill the gap that was created during that outage. We also have store and forward built in, of course. Right? On the upload management side, it is possible for administrative users to decide what tags they want to stream, what time range they want data for, and so on. But we also do things like we monitor the load on the source system server. And in the event that like the Pi archive server becomes heavily loaded, we will automatically stop some of our lower priority jobs. And there is also a cloud-based user interface with an emergency stop button. So there's intelligent management of the upload process built in. So first we acquire the data, then the data is managed in the cloud. There can be multiple data sources, including multiple ones from on-premise, but there can also be third-party data systems in the cloud that we want to bring data into this environment from. Could be cloud-based data systems, could be IoT devices that report into a vendor cloud and come across, could be any third-party application that does calculations using operational data, and where the customer would like to have that data organized within this common space. We provide the long-term data storage and the data storage management, so it's possible to take data offline, bring it back online, back up, restore, that kind of thing. Open data access, so the data is accessible using standard tooling, standard security management. So we use standard Microsoft, Azure, used to be called Azure Active Directory, now it's called Entra ID, but we use standard Azure security mechanisms and we use best practice ones. There's a whole bunch of work that we can talk about around ensuring the security of the customer's data within your cloud, and why I'm actually of the opinion that it can be safer in the cloud than on-premise. So there's a lot around open and yet secure data access. Data model translation is a really common and interesting problem in the process industries, where Pi has one set of data models in Pi AF. SAP has a different organizational structure with functional location hierarchies. Maintenance systems often have another one, and there's some mediation that has to happen between these data models and some translation among them. Fusion contains capability within it to enable a bunch of that translation. And then, finally, data lake. This data has to be stored in files somewhere, and we store the data natively in the data lake, so it is accessible at the file level as well as at the API level and the application level. So above this, we now have got analytic functionality. You know a lot about this if you're familiar with Sigmafine. So there's your ability to model your system, there's workflow, there's the trender that is now available here. There's several different ways to define and implement calculations within this joint Fusion Sigmafine environment. You're going to see some of them under Sigmafine Hub, but it scales out a lot further, and there's a lot more capability to do some very advanced computation as well. Data validation, gross error detection, data reconciliation, a lot of analytic functionality that you're familiar with. Then at the application space, a lot of the Sigmafine applications show up here around performance monitoring, mass balance, energy balance, and so on. I want to talk a little bit about anomaly detection, which may be new to you. Our legacy, and mine in particular, is in what is generally called these days, engineering data science, especially with regard to the detection of anomalies in operating data. So fault detection in processes and equipment, leading to things like predictive maintenance. So we have brought to the table some capabilities for automated detection of anomalies, changes in equipment and process behavior that can be used in predictive maintenance applications, and can also be used in some of the other applications around causes for issues with performance and so on. And then finally, of course, what we're really doing here is enabling our customers to do all sorts of other things. And so finally, the really important bit where the value ultimately comes from is from the use of this data and applications that you as our customers are able to build and get value out of with regard to how you run your business. So these are external applications or uses of the functionality and applications that we provide you with to do things like asset performance management or process optimization, or a lot of work that's going on these days with digital twins, machine learning, or third-party general purpose BI and Tableau, or custom or or potential new application maybe building around things like greenhouse gas tracking and accounting of greenhouse gases for reporting of scope 1 and ultimately scope 2 and scope 3 greenhouse gas emissions associated with individual product shipments. So by combining the capabilities of Fusion and Sigmafine, we're really coming up with something that is a whole lot more than the sum of its parts. Sigmafine is very good at what it does. Fusion is very good at what it does. But together, they provide this foundation for really making significant changes in how industrial organizations can use their operational data. And that's what I find really exciting, is the fact that we can make our customers far more effective than has been the case in the past. So just a couple of examples, just to bring things down to the ground a bit. By adding Fusion to your Sigmafine environment, Sigmafine Hub environment, it lets you seamlessly move your data from Pi and other operational technology systems to the cloud. It takes about 2 days to set up Fusion to start moving your data from the on-premise environment up to the cloud. So standard, proceduralized, easily executed. It allows operational data to be shared with business users without them having to touch the operational systems, which is a big deal. It makes it possible to do cloud-based calculations. The built-in trender is nice. So if you're used to trying to figure out why Sigmafine gave you a particular result and you want to look at what the time trend was, well, now with Fusion built into Fusion combined with Sigmafine Hub, you have that opportunity to go straight to the trender and look at it. Of course, we talked about democratizing data, making it easier for people to access it, but still maintaining ownership and control. The security, we put a lot of work into the security model for Fusion. When data is in the cloud, it is actually easier to manage data security in the cloud than it is on premise, in part because a lot of the very sort of basic stuff is enforced for you by Microsoft. All data has to be encrypted at rest, that kind of thing. But also because it is way easier to audit the security configuration of something in the cloud than something on-premise. We're deeply integrated with Microsoft tooling. We work really closely with Microsoft product teams, make it possible to get additional data from data connectors, and also make it possible for you to have distributed data collection. By augmenting your Pi data, it becomes possible to bring data into Sigmafine and other sort of industrial applications that was not originally accessible through Pi. So I hope you found this interesting. If you're interested in finding out more, please ask your account manager. You can contact the Fusion team, myself, Vice President of Technology, or John Veldhuis, who is the sales leader for Fusion, and we'll be happy to tell you as much as you would like to know. You can also check out our website at fusiondatahub.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. We will now make ourselves available for questions and answers.
Okay. We have quite a few people here from our product development team. So if you have any questions around the roadmap for Sigmafine, please go ahead and submit them. Right now, we don't have any questions that have been submitted yet, but if anybody has them, please keep in mind that we are on a little bit delay on when we broadcast and when you actually see it, so it might take us just a little bit. Okay, I guess we'll wait here for questions for a little bit. In the meantime, you can take a break if you need to, and then when we come back, we will go ahead and go over our presentation that we have for the Sigmafine Studio. Yes, we do have one comment so far. Do you have compatibility with PiVision? Medeo or David, either one of you want to take that?
I can take that.
Okay.
We don't have directly compatibility with PiVision. We run in the same architecture. In the last release of Sigmafine Hub, we had the capability to import as a link on attribute the PiVision tracks. Thank you.
Okay. All right. If anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to submit them. We had one came in that was submitted as an email. 1 second. You mentioned IMM. Does this mean IMM user interface will be moved away from Process Book to Sigmafine Hub? Mateo or David, one of you want to take that?
Matteo, would you be able to?
Sure. Yes. The idea is starting to move in IMM as a service on Sigmafine server. For the client, we want to move it on Sigmafine Hub to have in this way a common interface and a common way to operate with all the suite of Sigmafine server and Sigmafine Hub. So yes, we move. We want to move IMM on Sigmafine Hub.
Okay. Thanks, Matteo. Okay, I guess we'll just kind of take a break and we'll hang out here. In the meantime, if anybody has any questions, please submit them and we'll answer them for you. If not, we will start in about 5 minutes with the Sigmafine Studio. Okay, so we have one more question. Do you have full compatibility with PyAF?
Short question, if I can take it. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Val. If you have any other questions, please feel free to keep asking. Marco commented that Sigmafine server is still running on top of PyAF. And then Sigmafine Hub is a web layer on top of that. We had one more emailed in question. How can I get the new authoring feature? Just downloading the new Sigmafine Hub release.
If you can take it, yes. The new authoring feature is in the new version of Sigmafine, the 3.0, and the last one is the 3.02. And you have installing this new version of the application, you have the full authoring environment ready to play with it. And also you have the capability with the converter to upload the existing display. So the display can be the process book display. So the display can be converted in a new format for the authoring Sigmafine Hub. And that display support model version and also display version. And you can start play with the application. You can edit directly your display that was built previously with Process Book. And And also, we used the same graphic symbol library that is used in ProcessBook. So also visually, the visual display is not changed because it is the same library that you use on ProcessBook. They have the same symbol and the most similar way to do things in a modern way, but it's similar on how the things works on ProcessBook authoring mode, build mode.
All right, thank you. All right, doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in, but if y'all have any others, feel free to submit them. Our next presentation will be on the new Sigmafine Studio.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this presentation entitled Sigmafine Studio, our new powerful development and automation environment. So let's look the agenda. So we'll do an overview of Sigmafine Studio, what it is and what it includes. We'll look on one of the three components of Studio, so the analytics, the reports and dashboards, and finally we'll look at the workflows in Studio. Then we'll have a what's next section, and will be available for a question and answer. So let's start about the Sigmafine Studio overview. So Sigmafine. So what is Sigmafine Studio? So Sigmafine Hub 3.0 into Sigmafine Studio. This is a friendly and easy to use web-based development environment with a code block diagram, a paradigm. So coding is through we'll see it in the later slide. So it uses blocks in terms of making, let's say, line of programming. So no programming skills or additional development environment is needed. All is included in the Sigmafine Hub. It's also, we have an abstract layer of AF SDK, so the programming library to connect to the Sigmafine database through the PyAF server. You have an integrated web code editor, as I was saying earlier, and you have also, you will see later, you can also, although you have the block based programming, you can also see what is the equivalent in terms of line of programming for the more programming oriented people. So we also have a very nice integrated development and debugging functions, so you can do debugging and halt your code at put breakpoints and halt your code at certain place to debug it. And the Sigmafine Studio is an environment based on projects, so you can create projects in your Sigmafine Hub environment, and each project can have a series of analytics where coding is done. So for ETL or for any calculation or any data handling you want to use, with the Sigmafine data. So in the three types, so you have the analytics blocks, and then you have the report and dashboards. So those are our reports, and we have a report edition Canva or authoring, if you will. So you can create reports and dashboards that can be pulled directly or from visualizer displays. And finally, and this is a very great thing we can do, we can make custom workflows that could be invoked in displays. So you can add steps in your regular workflow. So all the steps, collect elements and collect transfers and collect inputs and run and publish, it's still there, but you can embed, your own steps in there. So for instance, here I have a analytics, showing gross error. So I can embed this gross error calculation or in the workflow and have, quality gates or intermittent data showing. So it's a really great thing, that the Sigmafine Studio brings to the environment. So let's look on the Studio Analytics. So Studio Analytics is a block-based macro language. It's easy to use, so it's just a matter to drag and drop blocks and configure those blocks to have the action. So easy to modify. So as soon as you edit an existing analytics, it's very visual, so you can see visually what's going on and how is the program structure. The block can be tested within the case. So as you can see here on the top, you have a load case and test toolbar. So you see there's a little play button and the case loading. So it's very interactive to test it. It encompasses all Sigmafine components. Beside the block, the execution block, you have access to a library of functions. You can call them those blocks. And as said before, it's a foundation to Sigmafine Studio reports and the Sigmafine workflow blocks. So again, many blocks shapes are available. So we have logics. So when you invoke on the canvas of analytics, can invoke or shows the shapes toolbar. So you have various sections or logics. So all the if then else and while and for each and everything's there. So Sigmafine connections, so you can connect to and load databases from the Sigmafine database. You can load cases from these blocks here. You can also have access and write attributes value in those cases. Analytics, you can call other analytics from one analytic. You can execute it from these blocks here. Of course, we have a debug print shape, so that's where you can put messages or print messages within your code. So when you debug it, you can print and intermediate or values and see what's going on with your code. Programming are the structures kind of blocks. So main program, functions, or function is kind of subroutine. You can call those functions within the main program. You have the end block, return block, break block. So it sounds very familiar to programming. Comments, you can put comments everywhere in your code, and you can set variables and interfaces to other analytics variables in your code. And finally, you have the task run shapes you can run within your program. So it's just in a nutshell explanation of what are the blocks. Of course, more detailed training will be available on Studio later. So again, about analytics. So function can be used, as I was saying, within let's have a variable set. So as you can see here on the right panel, I've defined a variable here, in my code, and then I'm defining a table within my block. So it's a combination of both, of graphical ease of use kind of blocks, and also a very, as you can see on this list here, a very detailed and very wide variety of functions you can pull data from Sigmafine database. Everything in the system on analytics is a drag and drop, so it's always a matter. You can select from a list and click on a function, and it appears automatically, so you don't have to recall what's the name of the function and type it. It's always available through a list. We have error checking upon function update. So if you not putting the right parameters in a function, or you don't pull or what you're trying to do doesn't make sense, you always have a pop-up with an error statement, and it tells you what's going wrong, what you're trying to do. So again, with analytics, the analytics design board is very interactive. As I was saying, ease of use. So here, just an instance of how it looks like. So here I've invoked my shapes. So I dragged, the main program shape, and under the main program, I just took from the SF case, a select, and I drag it. And as you can see, there is a little sigma kind of shape here on the top. So it's just the hooking, to the where you want to implement, your new block. So as soon as you drag it, over the block where you want to implement this new block, it's hooked and attached, to the step, and then it just matters to fill it. So if I click on my select, I want to select, my material list, from my case. So I can write my variable name and say, okay, from that variable, with the $, it says it's a variable. So I can attach my material attribute, and then I can put a hand statement to this main program. So this program doesn't do a lot, but it just to show you, how it looks like when you drag the shapes, on the canvas. And different variable types can be defined. So you can define, as I was saying, a local variable and define a global variable. So it just matters when you have a single $sign, starting with a variable name, it's a local variable. Double $sign is a global variable, saying it's accessible throughout this very old analytics. So from one subroutine to another, this variable will be available. So as I was saying earlier, a program can be tested within development canvas. So once your program is, mostly finished, and but you can have also an intermediate version of your program, and you want to test it. Then, as I was saying before, you have a toolbar, your testing toolbar, as you see on the top of that display, and you have this button here. It's very similar to what you have in Visualizer display. So you can select a case. So as soon as you click on that, you can see the case selection of that database and model this analytics is applying to. So you can put a start date, end date, make a search, and you see all the cases available with the proper analysis within that model. So you can select your case. Once this case selected, then the run button becomes available. So you can click on the run button, and it goes through all the steps of your analytics. So what is interesting here, as you can see, you can put a breakpoint in your code. It could be put anywhere, and on any block. It just matter to click on this part of a block, and it becomes red, and then it insert a breakpoint, and you can put several breakpoints into your analytics. And when you run your program, it stops at those breakpoint, and you can inspect the variables content and error messages you've got into executing your analytics, your program, and see where's the problem. There's also a pseudocode view for a more conventional way to inspect your code. So if you click on that icon here, you can see the equivalent pseudocode as you drag, that's a shape. So each shape is a line of code. However, you cannot change your program using that pseudocode. It's just for inspection and have a different view over your code. Some programmer they like this environment because it's more programming like a C# or Visual Basic. But the main, any new statement you want to make in the analytics can't be done here. You must use the shapes to do that. All right, so now let's talk about Studio reports and dashboard. That's the second component of the Studio, the overall Studio environment. So about Studio reports and dashboard, this is Sigmafine's reports and dashboard authoring solution. When creating a report, It starts with an empty canvas and a list of available objects, such as a table, a label, a field, combo box, checkbox, button, chart. So everything you need, to create a report. So when clicking on the empty space of the canvas, this toolbar appears. So it just matter to drag and drop objects on the canvas and compose a report. Once your report objects are set, you can configure every objects and establish a data source of the object. So you can fill the data source by selecting the appropriate studio analytics of that object and set, how you want the object to behave. So there's no programming except, of course, when you have created the analytics to bring all the data, the required data to the various objects. Otherwise, when you set the report, it's all point and click and configure it and save it. Once it's done, you have access, and when you open a report, the final results looks that way. So here I have a list of transfers of my case, and as you can see, this report contains a table showing all my case transfer, and it could be sort according to a column. You can make grouping. You can make all kind of settings, out of that table. And probably the table is the main object you will use. You can see there are shortcuts, so you can have actionable, element lookup for quick access. So if I'm clicking on that, I can pin, this transfer on the display, but I can also open the element panel and edit, values, attributes, out of that element. You can have a reference table, so I can connect, two tables together. So if I'm clicking on one transfer here, for instance, it can list all the material that are part of that transfer. I can have a chart. So here I have a chart where I have all my transfer per material. And if I'm clicking on one of these bars, I will have all the transfers. Let's, for instance, here, the first bar of diesel transfer, and click on that and have access to all the transfers. So it's very rich environment. You can have access to your data through the report or a dashboard. In that case, it could be one or the other. Of course, this is printable through a PDF or directly through a printer. So as I said before, a report can be called, from a display where several reports could be assigned. So as you can see here, I have three. Clicking on the reports icon, I have three reports that has been attached to that display, and each of these reports inherit the display selected case data. So then you can open one of these, and they will float over your display, and all the reports content then can interact with the display. So if you click on an object of that report, it will be pinned on your display, and you can also have access to that element left panel, the element panel, and change attributes out of that report. So you can see here the same report I was showing before appears here because I've selected it. And clicking on one of the elements here will pin it on my display, and I can open the element panel and change attribute out of it, as you can see here. So and of course, if you have selected quick edit attributes while you have configured your display, you can have access to it. So it eases the task of updating, your attributes as you use in a normal display, but it's also available through reports. So it's for those who's using ADA, you can make, a report. if you call it a report, but a dashboard, if you want to call it that way, that will replace easily, what is available in the dockable ADA, add-in and process book, and have exactly the same behavior. So report, as I was saying before, is also callable directly, from the visualizer. So you see, perhaps you saw it before, 2 columns. So you have a column here for the display, the first column, and a second column called reports. So you can directly call it from there without going through a display. And same thing happened here. It's you have the reports showing without the display, but all of these elements are reachable, and you can change element values directly from it. So one thing could be really nice is if you have two monitors, on your computer. On one monitor, you can have the display, and on the other monitor, you can open this dashboard and work with both of them. So here's the last but not the least component of Sigmafine Studio is the Studio workflows. So Studio workflows, so workflows allows the embedding of analytics in the execution of displays workflow. So as you can see here, I have in this example, we have defined 2 analytics to 2 programs from which, we have created workflows. So in these 2 analytics, I have created one called, case run with analytics in this example, and it will make a new workflow available to my display. So if I'm switching to the visualizer, you can see in the background there is a display. I've loaded a case. So when it's time to run the workflow, as you can see, and those who used Sigmafine Hub since a while, you can see this drop down, but there's just one entry, the default. But now, with these 2 new Studio workflows, I have 2 new workflows that I've assigned to this display. And this case run with analytics is available. So as you can see now, it's changed. So I've put, my basic steps, those we normally use. And again, when you make such workflows, you can decide to change, to have your own collect inputs and replace the default collect inputs by your new collect inputs. So again, when you make a workflow, you have to insert, the basic steps that we used to have, but you can replace them as well. And as you can see, I was showing you the 2 analytics, I have programs, so gross error and meter test 1 index analysis. So those are just examples, but they are available in my steps, and I have to cross these steps, to reach the end of my my workflow for this case. So I ran my collect elements, collect transfer, collect inputs, and now I'm at the step, to run, the gross error analytics. So what it does, I've made, this analytics, this program, to check, all my entries, my meters, everything, to see if there's no error, running it. And this is embedded then in this gross error step, I was showing you. So once I have executed it, I can have access to Sigmafine Hub Analytics panel. And running this analytics, I can make all kind of messages and data handling out of it. And here, as you can see, when I open this panel, out of this analytics, I can see what happened in this gross error. As you can see, the name of my analytics is shown there. And you can see I have several events, while I was running it. So here in the first column, and this is available, this is configurable in the Sigmafine Hub environment, so we can configure severity messages. So I have severity icons here. I have selected, in my analytics, I have a message. So it says I have a bad value with it. And I have also the related element. I can see, from this this step, I have running my gross error. So before I'm running it, I can have a much better view and very sophisticated data handling I can do there, and apply a severity level of each of them. So it could be just a warning, could be a like this icon is saying, is with a exclamation mark, it's an error, and you can even stop, the workflow there, and you disable the run and to pursue, the rest, carry on with the rest of this workflow, from this analytic. So it's very exciting. It's very powerful what you can do with that. So the workflow output are reachable in different ways also. So as you can see here in this panel, I've opened, by analytics here, but you can also have a view over, by sorted by elements, by selected element, by actions, because you can also define action you want to take, following the execution of that analytics. So again, it opens new doors and all kind of opportunities, you can have, with Sigmafine using the studio workflows. So I just give you a very, very high-level overview of the basics. So the first release of Studio's workflow includes display workflow sequence enhancement. So it's really what we saw in this example. But we prepare many more functions, out of it, and it will be released, in 2024 and later. So for instance, you'll be able to do parallel workflows. So you'll be able to run workflows in parallel. You will be able also to do cascade workflows. So run a workflow, and when the first workflow is done, you can run a second workflow in this order. You'll be able to schedule case creation using Sigmafine Scheduler, but able to run specific workflows in this, when you create that case. You'll be able to do automated data import. So instead of manually import it each time, you'll be able to automate these data import. You'll be able to automate analysis selection out of it. You'll be able to automatically publish, Sigmafine cases and data using the SQL Access product we have. So the interaction will be extended to the SQL Access, which is very popular. Notifications could be sent on specific events. So if something happened, you can program in analytics a send of a notification that will be received by the audience, the users, the community of users of Sigmafine Hub, and be notify something happened with a case, manually executed or automatically executed. And many more will be available through that. So as I said, it's a really exciting part of Studio. It brings a lot of opportunities. So this finished the presentation, technical part of the presentation about the Studio. I hope you enjoyed it. So what's next? About the Studio. So for the time being, PIMSoft can create Sigmafine Studio applications to be installed on your Sigmafine Hub environment on a time and material mode. So this is available now with version 3. All of this is available. Everything that I was showing you is, all of that is available and could be implemented by our project delivery team. So they are ready to make you a cost-effective proposal for your studio application, and it's available now. And the delivery is done through packages, so we can create, a studio, analytics report dashboard and workflows on our system, and make you a sort of an install kit so you can deploy it on your environment. and it's very effective, very cost-effective way to develop your application. The Sigmafine Studio Suite, so all to be able to do it by yourself will be available later in 2024 for sales. So contact your PIMSoft account manager for any question you may have to discuss, the possibility for our delivery team to create you a Studio's applications and the ATA for the Sigmafine Studio Suite licensing that will be available later. So thank you very much for attending to this presentation about Sigmafine Studio, and we are now ready for your questions.
If anybody has any questions, please submit them, and we will get somebody from the product development team to answer them. Are there any questions? Anybody have any questions on Sigmafine Studio that we can answer for you? Here we go. Could you compare mostly significant benefits building users' dashboards based on Sigmafine's analytics and compare us with available PyAF, PyVision integrated approach? Matteo or Masso?
I can answer. No, I can answer me. What are the benefits of this solution? I understood. Firstly, Sigmafine dashboard in Sigmafine Hub is fully integrated. Okay, PyVision is, I think, has a different approach, so other than to be a different application. No, the advantage is that you can consume your analytic and dashboard directly in Sigmafine Hub and Sigmafine Hub Visualizer. And for what I know, PyVision is good to show real-time data and historian data recorded in the PyData archive, for what I know. And differently, Sigmafine Hub is able to get data from the case, and is able to analyze the data, providing insight. This feature is not available in PyVision.
If I can complete a little bit the story, is also the power part of dashboard and dashboard and report is not the dashboard and report itself, not only the dashboard and report itself, but is the analytics that produce the ATLs that at the moment feed the dashboard and report. Because with analytic, you can extend the Sigmafine dataset. So it's not only a way to see, to make a report by itself. It's not just to see the data, but it's how you can change the way you can consume the data. Because dashboard and report are connected with PyAF element, so you can use the report to select element, and then you can do adjustment on the element. You can have a workflow that run on the report and dashboard. It's like a way, I have a way to see the display in a different way. You can create a report and consume in a Sigmafine display, Sigmafine app display, but you can also work with the case and you can work with attributes without the display, but just with the report. Another powerful feature that have the report is the capability to work and communicate through the application, through the Sigmafine application. So if you change something on the report recognizes that something is changed and can notify the other user that use that uses the same case that something is changed and have to reload the the report or display, because the report and display can share the same dataset. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Matteo. We have a emailed in question. One second. In our case, we don't have model graphics. Can we still get advantage from Studio by configuring reports, even if we do not have a model graphics?
Yes. So the purpose of Sigmafine Studio is enable users to work with Sigmafine also without a display. So if you can build a report, you can open a report without having the display, and you can perform your same workflow, your same Sigmafine workflow from the report. So you can run the Sigmafine step, collect answer, collect input, and run. And you can run your analytics to analyze the result. And you can see your result directly in the report without having the display. You can do that, I confirm.
All right. Thank you, Massimo. Thank you, Matteo. I don't think we have any more questions currently. If you do have any more, just please send them and we will make sure to get back with answers for you. And now we will go back to Michelle for a presentation on the visualizer and the authoring. Thanks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this presentation entitled Sigmafine Hub 3.0, What's New with Displays Authoring? So let's look at the today's agenda. So first we'll go through displays authoring functions, see what are the basics and what's going on with that. Then we'll have a look over views and sub-displays. We'll talk briefly about model whiteboard. Then we'll see what are the next steps, what's coming up with it, and then we'll finish with the Q&A session. So what is in Sigmafine Hub Visualizer 3.0 with authoring? So the new authoring function allows you to really create and edit displays. So clicking on the create display, it creates displays. You can also edit directly displays in the from the visualizer page. Of course, if you have the correct rights in the database from your accounts. It offers a complete set of displays and model design tools. So if you select an object here, you can change all its properties. You can drag elements and new symbols, from the left panels. It provides a general standard symbols library as you have in process book. You can create also your own custom symbols library. A new display and model design tool, the whiteboard, is also available. So from the whiteboard, we'll see it later in details, but you can create a non-bound, display. So not bounded to a Sigmafine database and create from scratch, your model, and then convert it to a model-based display. And nothing changed really otherwise in Sigmafine Hub Admin and Studio and other functionality. And in version 3.0, we did a lot of improvement, a series of fixes. So it's a very improved version from the version 2. So as you had before, in version 2, process book displays converter is available in process books. So it's certainly the first step you should do when you first start, SF Hub, by converting and importing your displays. So it's only a matter to install the Sigmafine Hub Display Converter add-in for process book. As you can see here on this slide, and then just a matter to select the output directory and name you want the display to take in this on this converted file, and click on convert. Then it started conversion. When it's finished, you have an import file created. So it's a file, so that the same name you assign, before you convert it, .imp for import file. Then you go to Sigmafine Hub Admin. You click on the select file to upload. You upload it, and when it's completed, then the display from process book is imported, available, in Visualizer, and of course you can open it and use it. And of course, this display is also available, of course, for edition. So it's just a matter on the bottom of that screen, you see the little crayon, the little pen. So you click on that and you can switch to the edit mode. So editing a display, very easy again. So you can create a display. You just have to click on the create button. You will be asked to put the name, description, and of course you will have to say if it's a AF database based. If it's that case, it's a real, actionable display. Then if it's not checked, of course, as we saw before, it will be a whiteboard unbounded display. And then if it's based on a model, you will have to select the model. So I think you can start to understand. If you have no models, of course it's a whiteboard because you have no model to attach. So while creating the whiteboard, you will create the model. You can save it; it becomes a display. But if the model already exists into your AF database, then it's a model-bound display. Then you have to select the right database server, the right database itself, and the right model in that database in the same order as I said. Also, a new thing also is you know that into the AF database, let's say you access it through a system Explorer, you can make versions of that database, and that functionality exists since the really early time of PyAF. But now it's compulsory. If you want to create a display from a AF database, you have to select the version you want to choose. The version shown here is the latest. You see there's a little arrow beside it. If you click on that, you can access previous versions. Graphical templates, as said before, it's really important entity into the graphic template into Sigmafine Hub. Each element must be defined into a template before you can use it. So when you install, Sigmafine hub, you have a default or a standard library of symbols. And you have generic icons. You have simple icons like lines, text, very basic stuff that is a part of that standard library. It does contain a very impressive series of process or mechanical, objects, valves, pumps, stuff like that. Very similar to what you have in process book. So the default standard graphic templates, it's organized in 3 categories though. So the prefab, as I was saying, the text, the polyline, the ellipse, circle, rectangle, triangles, prefab, Sigmafine connections, and the icons as you see here. Also bear in mind that the standard database, the standard graphic templates, that library is not modifiable by the user, so you can't modify it. It is provided with the software. However, you can create your own custom library and create your own symbols that you can attach normally to templates. We'll see that just after this. So the othering display management, after we see that there are symbols, Sigmafine Hub is a shared environment. So with process book, displays, and model are managed using a local file. When you run Sigmafine Hub, it's really not running on your workstation. It rather runs on the Sigmafine Hub web server. So you have nothing running on your workstation as you have now with Process Book or PySystem Explorer. So when you run a model, the algorithm programs, it's running on your computer, on your workstation. Sigmafine Hub is a process running on the server itself. So since it's a shared environment, there is a mechanism for model reservation. So as soon as you edit, a display, the authoring could be performed only on one session. Of course, you can't have 2 persons modifying the same display at the same time. So once it's taken by someone, it's not editable by someone else. Displays are synchronized with the AF database at any moment, and only one session, of course, is enabled in authoring for a specific model to have several users work simultaneously on the same model. As for the display, for the graphical, the model representation is also in the reservation mode. So the model is also automatically reserved when creating a new display bound to its model. So when you create a new display, of course, it's same as editing an existing display. As I was saying before, just repeating the same. So working copy. So while the display is on authoring mode, all changes are applied to the working copy of the document only, preserving the current version that will continue to be available to other users. So if you take a couple of days to change your display, you can save a working copy, and the previous copy of that display is still available to all users. When the change is completed, though, you can then publish the display, and it's like publishing a web page. We never say we save a web page; we publish it. So when you publish it, then all users can take the advantages, the changes, the improvement of the new version. Versioning, again, versioning is very rigorous, very systematic. It's a kind of a change, but versioning has always been there in the AF database. So we take this this stepping stone or this starting point, if you will, and really put versioning of everything. So as I was saying, as soon as you publish a version of a display, it creates automatically a version, and you can open all the versions. Let's say you did 21 versions of that display, so you have published it 21 times. You will see the 21 versions with the date and who's changed it, so what and when. So that's what we were saying at the first place. It's a full auditing all the time, on the Sigmafine Hub. So you have model version as well, as we were saying. So each time you change a model, there is a new version. and the display version. Yeah, the reviewing version must be encompassed into the upgrade strategy. So it's really important to consider version 2 of Sigmafine Hub was not that tight on the version because we had no authoring tool. Now version 3 is really rigorous on that. So that's something you must validate when you're upgrading from 2.0 to 3.0 in Sigmafine Hub, that all your database version is tight and works correctly. So then into a display. So elements, I just want to show you, I think it's obvious for now, but just to get back on it, and some principles, when you build a new display. So you can go in a library. So it could be a general custom library, or it could be the list of elements. So if you're working with an existing model, you can bring from the list of elements directly, drag and drop, the element from that library to the display. So so again, you have both the existing library, so the general library, or custom library, or the element panel. So the elements panel shows all the model's element. So if you pull the existing model, link the elements to present to other elements present in the display will appear. So if I have, let's say, meters that are on my screen, so if I'm bringing this column, destination column or stripper on that screen, any elements already on the display will be connected to that new element you're bringing to the screen. And then clicking on an element. So as soon as that is on the screen, you can click on it, and on the right side of the screen, you will have this element properties panel that will appear, and you can make all changes you want, on that element, including if you want to add, annotations. So if you want to see the element name, you want to see the pressure, let's say the various attributes for that element, you can bring it into the annotations and be able to show that on your display. Change fonts, change colors, animation. You see there is a animation tab here. You can make a change of state. So you want to change it for green, for yellow, for purple. You have everything accessible, from that property panel on the right side of the screen. So yeah, as exposed before, just to highlight, the two main principles, in building displays is the auto draw principle. So when you have an element here existing on the display, and you're just dragging an element from the model. So here I'm the element panel, so it exposes me all the elements that are already in the model. If you're dragging on this, drag it on the screen, sorry, it will automatically connect, make the connection between all the elements that are on the screen. So in this case here, in this example, see there is this column, and I dragged a flow element, and the connector has been put automatically because it does exist in the model. So that's the auto draw principle. The other principle is the auto expand. So for the same element, if you're dragging it, you have the same element, this column, on the display, and you double click on it. So as soon as you double click on this very element, all the connected elements will appear on the screen, and it will have their connectors, drawn automatically, on the display. So layers, again, are effective, or works well on Sigmafine Hub, as it was in primarily in AF database, but also in the process book display. So two types again. You have the model layer, and the model layer is really aimed to discard or include elements in the case running. And the display layer, the display layer is more to show or not, so show to hide or unhide an element or an object, on your display, and you can make multiple layers as you had, on process book, and in the Sigmafine model, and you are able now to do that in the model directly in PySystem Explorer. So same principles apply here, in the in Sigmafine Hub. Display view. So that's a new thing. I think it's a pretty interesting thing. So a display view is a part of the main display. So you can create in a display. So here I'm in edit mode. If you click on the canvas anywhere, you have this canvas properties that appear, and you can click on the views tab, and you can create many views for a display. So a view shows a subset of an entire display, but it doesn't allow to edit or make any change to that display. So as you can see here down there is a view. As soon as you have a view, you have a views button that appear, and if you click on it, you can see all the views. So a display can hold many views. And a view really brings a visual presentation of parts, of the overall process, and ease its viewing. So it's really aimed to ease the viewing of your main display. And what is interesting also, it's all included in the display, so you don't have other display like the sub displays. Sub displays is cool, but it's really you have to make a display for every sub model. So it's more a way to bind a model to multiple displays, while a view is really to view a certain part of the display and ease the view. Sometimes display could be huge, and this views functionality is really cool to ease your job, in viewing what's going on with your data. So now let's look at the sub displays. So Sigmafine Hub Visualizer can now allow sub displays. So sub displays are standard displays connected and synchronized with a Sigmafine submodel. So in PyAF, it's always been possible to make some models, although using these with process book were not really simple to do and was kind of cumbersome. So now you can really make sub displays out of the visualizer, and it works really nice. So from a display, let's say from the using training display, can create a sub display called using training display crude unit. So we extract the crude unit out of the main display, and really, if you look at the model, it's really from the oil refinery demo model. We have created this a sub model, so a child model containing just the elements from the crude unit distillation column area. So each time, and it says really an embedded functionality into the Sigmafine database, Sigmafine model. Each time you create a case in the main model, it creates it automatically in the submodel, or the submodels if there are many, because you can, of course, subdivide your main model in several submodels. So then, once it's implemented in the visualizer configuration, so you will connect, the main model to its submodels. It's actionable. You can open it directly from the main model, and of course, you can also open it from the visualizer main page. So you can open it. So there is a little arrow on the bottom of the main display, and you will see the series of sub displays. As we were seeing the views, in the example before, the function before, same applies to the sub display. So that's the sub display brings visual representation of that part. So here, and of course, this display has been done, have been created, using the authoring functionality. So we had to create this part. It's not automatically done just by connecting to the submodels. We have to drag the elements on the screen. You save it, and you can see, this some model through the sub displays. So the sub display can be delegated to other users without having access to the main display, and it's fully functional. So you can make adjustments directly from that. If you compare it with the views, it's not possible to do that. Views are read only just for displaying parts of the main display, while the sub displays is really fully functional. So what's a whiteboard? So whiteboards allows you to develop models without the use of Visio or PowerPoint or Excel to design it and share it with the various people, participating to that design. So the only difference is when you create a display, you don't check, is AF server. That's the only difference. So when you uncheck it, so it's not checked, the display is open, and it just matters to drag symbols to make a connection between symbols and so on and so forth. So to do that, you just need the access to a browser. So you don't have to install other software like Visio or other software for process modeling. So no needs to install software locally, and no files exchange. I think that's a very important point here. So you don't have to send back and forth version of files. Let's say if you have a Visio or PowerPoint or Excel, you don't have to exchange files. Doesn't need Sigmafine skills and detailed knowledge. It's pretty intuitive. Function, just matter to drag symbols to make connection between symbols and so on and so forth. So it's really, really easy and accessible to anyone. Can use the simplified whiteboard symbols library. So Sigmafine Hub comes with a whiteboard libraries. They have a simplified list of symbols in the library. So when I'm creating a display, in a whiteboard mode, I have the whiteboard library accessible, so I can open it and have access to a series of simplified symbols and drag it. So from my library, I can drag it on the screen and have my symbols. This is as easy as that. And you can, of course, change the name of that symbol. So the little name, you see the annotation labels, if you will. I can edit it and put whatever I need to put there. Then I can drag many symbols. So if you look at that, it's very similar to what you would have in a process book or in an attached display, to a model. But I just drag symbols and I just make connection between the various symbols and just put the right names, on it. And when you select, from one symbols to another, it's just a matter to click on the first symbols. You invoke, the connection function, and just click on the second symbol, and the arrow is made automatically, and will follow. If you move the symbol, it will follow it. So it's very nice, very easy to use. Again, the whiteboard could be shared to your colleagues while you're developing it. It could be shared with engineering. Again, you just need a browser to do that, and the right access, proper access. Of course, you still need an account, and a proper rights, to access the Sigmafine Hub, website. And you can, of course, you can share it with external consultant if they have access to your network. Then when you have finished with the whiteboards, you all agree on that. Of course, you will be able to convert that whiteboard display to a Sigmafine models in the AF database. So from the whiteboard, there is a converter tool within, it's no external software within the Sigmafine Hub, and you can convert this whiteboard to a model, and of course convert it to a normal, a regular SFHub display. So it's really complete as a tool. So the whiteboard stopped to be a whiteboard and becomes a real actionable display. So this finished the technical part of this presentation. Hope you enjoyed it, and it shows you the benefits of using the visualizer, and especially with the authoring functionality. It's really now complete and powerful, and you obtain the same functionality and a better look and feel than process book. So what's up next? You know, what's coming up next? So here are the main thing to consider. It's a call to action. So again, plan your transition, moving from process book to Sigmafine Hub, and bear in mind also, process book end of life is in 2024. As a matter of fact, I think it's end of 2024. So OSI Software Aviva, they won't support it anymore. Although, you know, the software itself will continue to work. You know, there is no expiry date, you know, on the software itself, but it won't be supported by the manufacturer. So plan your transition. Plan if you want to do it by yourself. Plan your work. You know, it's very important to carefully plan it. But also, you can ask our team, our project delivery team. We have a bunch of good guys, you know, they can do that with you and assist you in that project. Open the conversation again, you know, to prepare it, survey, presentation, recording, submit your question, carefully plan by talking to us and talking, you know, among your team, you know, how you want to do that and really have a successful project. And of course, you know, join the Fisher Tech Talks. We try to increase the pace where we present a tech talk more often and give you all the updates. But with the authoring tool, we cross a very important milestone, you know, in our development, and we're really enthusiastic, you know, about the product. Yeah, and again, you know, moving to Sigmafine Hub 3.0. So if you currently have 2.0, you can, of course, you know, you can plan and you can have access to the 2.0 version. The current version, we had a couple of patches. We are at the 3.02. Installation kit, of course, are available on the Sigmafine support portal. Bear in mind, very important that to copy also the process book conversion add-in because they have a different version for each version. So there is a version 3.0.2 for the conversion add-in. There are fixes and important improvements in Sigmafine 3.0. You can see the release date. So it's not just the authoring tool. There are also fixes and improvements. And as I said previously, our project delivery team is available to assist you in your deployment of Sigmafine 3.0. And don't hesitate to contact your PIMSoft account manager for any question you may have. So we're ready for the question and answer. Hope it was fruitful, and we're ready to fire for questions. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Michelle. If anybody has any questions, please submit them now so we can get them asked. Bear in mind there is a little bit of delay going on here, so it might take a second to get some of the questions submitted. Okay. And also, please keep in mind that if you do have some questions but don't feel like asking them now, please feel free to reach out to your account manager. And if you don't have one, just contact us through the website and we'll get you in touch with the right person to talk to about that. All right. Well, Matteo and Massimo, thanks for joining us to answer any questions. I do have one that came through in an email. Give me 1 second. Once I convert process book display into Sigmafine Hub, can I start using authoring to modify it?
Okay. Yes. You can convert your original PDI display in Sigmafine Hub. You can import in Sigmafine Hub. And then you can use the authoring to modify the display as well as to modify the model if you are adding new element or you are removing element or you are changing the connection. So once you have the display, this Sigmafine Hub display, you can modify, you can maintain your display using the authoring tool. No longer need to use the PyProcess book.
And this is assuming that you're on the latest version, correct? Or
Yeah.
at least the 3.0 version.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions that you would like to submit? Again, feel free to send them any questions at any time. We'll get those answered to you. Matteo and Massimo, thanks for joining us this morning to answer any questions that came up. I think I'm going to bring Massimo Galli back in. Hi, Massimo.
Hi, Ryan.
So I think that does it on that end from the summit.
Okay.
Did some words you wanted to share at the end?
Well, yes, I took a few notes about today. First, I would like to thank all the contributors to the summit. Hunt Refining, who presented a story where we could catch a couple of points. First, how integration is important in Sigmafine implementation. So they were able to bring a very diverse set of data to Sigmafine to solve their balance, including business data, business transactions. And also they were also looking at the X indicators to measure the quality of the balance and then to identify data errors. Then we moved through a couple of stories about our Sigmafine partners and how they are leveraging Sigmafine to better serve their customer. And from the Pinsoft point of view, I would like to remark that this summit is setting an acceleration in the evolution of Sigmafine to match modern requirement and expectation. So we saw how Pinsoft within the new Valsoft ecosystem is targeting a cloud scenario, and Sigmafine Hub is a continuously evolving paradigm. Eventually, we learned IMM will be moved to Sigmafine Hub too. This is very important because we have been receiving many requests about that. With these two last presentations by Michelle, we had the opportunity to go through these two major achievements, Sigmafine Hub authoring and Sigmafine Studio. We believe this release will unlock the potential of Sigmafine by providing better performances, a truly shared collaborative environment, and the capability to self-augment Sigmafine intelligence. So if you have any question, please contact the Sigmafine team member closer to you. We will be glad to plan the next step in your Sigmafine journey with you. So thanks again, everybody, for attending the summit.
Yes, thank you. And we will be having another session a little bit later today if
Yes.
people wanted to join in and rewatch some of the presentations. We will also have the recordings posted probably next week, along with we'll get some of the presentations sent out to everybody as a PDF. And then we also have a Chevron presentation that we will be getting to everybody too. So thanks for joining us. All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.